Hi, I'm Karina Halle, and I'm the author of the Artist Trilogy, starting with the book Sins and Needles. It's a very gritty, very dark romance, and there's a lot of unrequited sexual tension going on there, unrequited love, past love, mixed with a lot of flaws and personal detriment to character. So one of the things that I grew up on was, of course, a lot of horror books. Like, I'm a huge fan of Stephen King. He doesn't do romance at all, but there's something very, obviously very dark about his work and thrilling and suspenseful that I really love. And then my other favorite book growing up is Jane Eyre. And that, again, is just at its heart a wonderful romance, along with the character Jane, who has gone through a lot of personal changes from the beginning of the book to the very end. And she's very strong, she's very, she's got a good heart, but very strong-willed. And she's stubborn, and she has her flaws too. And during the course of Jane Eyre, of course, she falls for Mr. Rochester, who's this wonderfully brooding, dark, enigmatic man who she has this unrequited love for. So Sins and Needles, to me, in a way, was a kind of good combination of two of my favorites, which have been like Jane Eyre or, take The Shining or any of Stephen King's works. Just taking that sense of suspense that something's building, something's coming, there's something out there that keeps you on your toes, but then mix it in with the love that is unrequited. With Sins and Needles, it's Camden, who's Ellie's love interest, that actually the unrequited love comes from. Because in high school, they were really good friends until basically she betrayed him in a terrible way. And so Camden's the guy that has always loved Ellie, has always wanted to see her be the person that he knows that she can be. And so when Sins and Needles, when I was writing it, I just thought, well, that's kind of a spin with the guy that's going after the girl. But then again, not everything is exactly as it seems either, because Camden's not exactly the kind of person that you think he is until halfway during the book, when things kind of twist around, and now you don't really know whose side to be on anymore. One of the interesting things I find about Sins and Needles and hearing from readers is that people at the beginning hate Ellie because she's such a bad girl, because she has low morals, that she makes poor judgments, that she acts more on selfish reasons than anything else. I mean, she's a con artist, so she's not a good person, by the strict sense of the word. But halfway during the book, something happens between her and Camden where things just twist around. And suddenly I notice people at that halfway mark, people going, oh, then they start feeling sorry for her and start being more on her side, where up until that moment they hated her. And so it's a good kind of twist on your feelings for the characters. It's a good twist on how a standard romance plays out. So I think around that point, when people are like, oh, whose side do I go for? Who's the good person in the story? Well, there isn't really a good person. But once you realize what's at stake, that you know that there's actual love and romance that is the driving force more than any of the immoral acts or, the criminal acts that go on in the book, that's when I think people are like, oh, this is really exciting. This is really thrilling. I don't know what's going to happen next. Like, is she going to fall for Camden? Is she going to rip him off? Is Camden going to, hold her past acts against her? Is he going to help her see the light? How does this ex-boyfriend, drug cartel lord come into the mix? And is he going to kill them both? Is she going to go back with him? You don't know what's going to happen. So I think that's why it's fun for me to see people reading Sins and Needles, and I really get to see, oh, you have no idea how this story's going on. And a lot of people love it just because it's unpredictable and they've never read anything like it before. So that's actually one of my favorite things about hearing about the book.